Hello everybody, this is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. MGTOW meaning men going their own way. That is to say, we're moving away from stupidity, moving away from indoctrination, moving away from being victimized as men by the system and by feminist bitches. Alright, so on this particular video, I'm going to do a video and a simultaneous unboxing of Glenlivet Founders Reserve. I was at a large liquor emporium yesterday and couldn't help but see this particular scotch. And one of the employees had a bottle open in back, so he brought it out for me and we had a sip. And I found it very satisfying, so I thought I'd buy a couple bottles and then share it with you. Anyways, this video is about men don't care. We just don't care. Men don't care. So, when I was ready to become a father, my doctor said that I was going to have son, and then I was going to have another son, right? I had two of them, 2 years apart. Best damn kid you could ever want. And I wanted to make sure I was going to raise them to be men. I wanted sons, I got sons, and I'll tell you what. Pretty satisfying, both my sons and this scotch. We're going to do neat, of course. Wouldn't want the sacrilege of this first sip going any other way. So I wanted to learn about sons, how to raise men. Didn't want to make any mistakes in this particular environment, especially with all the confusion and bullshit. And this all started back in 2000, and my second son was born in 2001. Oh, yeah. What I learned about the difference between sons and daughters is that when sons are infants and they're laying in their crib, and whether they're scared or hungry, they cry. All babies cry. But there's a unique difference that has to do with the way boys are treated when they're in the crib and girls are treated when they're in their crib. Boys are left in the crib crying longer and sometimes not answered at all. But a mother, especially a mother, will run to her daughter and she'll pick her up sooner every single time. They've done the tests, they've done the studies, and the net result of this, the upshot is that girls are conditioned from birth, literally, to cry for what they want. And if they don't get what they want, they cry some more. They cry louder. They scream. They throw a fit. Whatever they can to get attention. And as they scream louder and more, in comes the mom. Right? In comes the mom. Dad says, geez, God, I love my daughter, but fuck. Right? I don't care. I want her to shut up. Anyways, the mom doesn't do that. The mom runs into the daughter. Boys are left there and it takes a lot longer. Or they just don't get any attention at all. But the daughter gets attention. So she learns and starts conditioning others around her to respond to her crying, which is her demand, which comes from her wants. And rather than deal with it, she cries. This, let's call it this pathology, develops through early childhood. The infant girl comes out of the crib and now she's in the playpen. She's downstairs. She's around the mom, and when she wants attention, she cries and she gets what she wants. Boys are left to their own devices. Boys, because they're left in the crib longer, actually will be quiet. They'll just stop fucking crying. They're like, well, that ain't fucking working. I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to lay here for a while. And that's where it all starts. The boy isn't being neglected. The boy is being taught a lesson. He's not being taught that he's not cared for or loved. He's being taught that crying doesn't get what you want. And so I actually did this with my sons. It killed me. I wanted to run in there when they're crying in their cribs. But I would just stand around the corner, a mere 2 feet away from them, and listen to them cry. Then they'd calm down. Then they would be quiet. I would peek my head around the corner like a dad ninja, stare at my sons, and they would just be laying there calmly, looking around, fucking with their hands or whatever they had in the crib with them. And they would just entertain themselves. That is a huge difference between a boy and a girl. So as they grow up, again, boys they get out of the crib and they're brought down, set on the floor in a playpen or whatever. And they, by their nature, by their conditioning, this is the nurturing aspect, learn to deal with stuff. They start problem solving. A girl, on the other hand, continues age 1, age 2, age 3, age 4. When they want, they cry. They demand to be heard and they demand to be satisfied. That is precisely what they do. So is it any wonder that as women get older, they continue to piss and moan, and when they don't get their way, they bitch, they scream, they raise their noise holes to a crescendo that pisses God off. He likes a fucking break, and I'm sure God enjoys a good scotch. So by time men get older, I'm done having children, was done a long time ago, raised my sons, that's what I've been doing. The continuing raising of children was not in my cards. 2 sons, I'm good. Lucas, you're going to need to... All right, here we are. So, women cry, piss, moan, bitch, and they get heard. What I get tired of is fucking hearing it. I have not liked listening to women scream since I was 10 years old, the crying and the whining. But there comes a point where as men, we just don't care. We get tired of hearing it. We don't give a fuck anymore. And that's what has happened with the feminist movement. Men initially gave in to the women 100 and something years ago, back in the 1840s, 1850s, 1860s, then 70s. They were giving in, thinking, look, we know what these women want. They're just fucking bitching. They're just making some noise. So we're going to give them what they want. And as soon as they get what they want, they'll shut up. The same way the baby girl in the crib shut up when you gave her a pacifier, or gave her some fucking milk, or gave her some Cheerios, these little babies. What those men failed to realize was the consequences. A woman, a full-grown woman, is very much like that baby in the crib. Once you start giving her what she wants, she will scream and cry for more as soon as she wants more or wants something else. That has been our problem with these feminists. And today, these young feminists, they scream, they yell, and they get what they want from women, from the government, from politicians. They're conditioned by school faculty who are doing the indoctrination and the passing along of propaganda. They're the ones that teach these young girls to scream and yell and cry. And then they are the ones that reward them with the attention they want by telling them how smart they are, how correct they are, how it ought to be. Right? The teacher tells the student repeats back, the teacher tells the student how smart they are and they have it right. The student believes they know something truthful. Fact is, they couldn't fucking be further from the truth. Giving women what they want is the last thing they need in order to have a good life. It teaches them to be complete and total tyrannical cunts. And it teaches them that all they have to do is bitch for it. So where we're at now, men have fucking had it. And I don't mean just me. I don't mean just old guys. I don't mean just guys in their 40s, their 30s, or even the fucking millennials in their 20s. Everyone's fucking had it. We're tired of hearing it. We don't care anymore. We don't care about their bullshit. We don't care about their propaganda. We don't want to fucking hear it. Now, what's amazing about this problem is we're not talking about an infant girl that's crying and screaming. We're not talking about a toddler. We're not talking about a preschooler or a grade school kid or a preteen or a teenager. We're now talking about college women. Women who are just out of college and in their 20s. They have had 20 plus years of being trained to scream and yell for what they want. And when they don't get what they want, they scream even louder. Now, as men, what the fuck do we do about this? First of all, we can understand the problem. The problem is the social conditioning combined with genetic predisposition. Right? Girls are softer. Moms nurture. Knowing the girls are softer, the mom nurtures the girl more, creates another girl. And then you combine with that. You combine with that nature-nurture propaganda, indoctrination, and you create a fucking monster with 1, 2, 3, up to 6 classic personality disorders in various combinations of strength. It is scary to sit down and deal with one of these triggered little bitches. My son makes a game of it, my younger son. He loves to trigger fucking girls. He comes home and I go, look, I can't take any more stories. Don't tell me how you triggered your fucking teachers or triggered this girl or that or played game. You know, he fucking kills me. You know, he loves to trigger him. He loves to watch him go off. He is now conditioned to not give a shit. He doesn't care. He's teaching them that go ahead and be triggered. You don't get what you want for it. Go ahead and trigger. It makes me laugh at you. You're fucking stupid. That's the game he plays. He's already training him. I'm going to fuck with you, and if you don't like it, too fucking bad. And he's not the only one. I know other young men now are growing up with these little triggered monsters. These gold-digging whores in waiting. They're just waiting for their chance to get out there and start their skills. And only young men will be able to avoid them. All the young simps and little white knights out there. All the young betas, they're going to get run over just like the older ones did. You know, you can't do anything with them. All you can do, really, is just not give a fuck anymore. And they will scream more and scream louder. And they don't learn because those formative years of the mind, those early formative years, ages 1 through 5, is where they were taught most and best that screaming gives what they want. And they combine that with their education, which is actually indoctrination. So what's the problem? The problem is men don't care. But that's not my problem, and that's not your problem. That problem's for the bitches. That problem's for the feminists. They need to learn, and they cannot, because they haven't been taught how to think. One of the great tragedies of our educational system is it doesn't teach people to think. It only teaches people to repeat what they've been taught, to repeat what they've been told, to repeat what is in the book. That's not education. That is indoctrination. Repetitive, blah. Repetitive rumination of bilge. That's what their heads are full of. These little bitches' heads are full of bilge. Ooh, wow. That is a fine scotch. So no one over at the Glenlivet is giving me any credit or anything free, but The Founder's Reserve Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. That is a classic. Classic. Unlike Glenfiddich, it's kind of light on the peaty, but you know, it reminds me a lot of the Balvenie, one of their more aged varieties. I also bought a bottle of Glenfiddich 15 and Glenfiddich 18-year-old Scotch, and can't wait to get into those in this holiday season. So the problem with men not caring is that it's going to cause these little raging whores to scream and cry louder. And they're going to scream and cry and run even faster to those that in the past have responded favorably to the way they want to behave. I want that well understood. When we ignore them, the problem with not giving a shit about them is that they'll run back to those that have given them the attention they want, that have given them the entitlements and the privileges they want, and demand even more. And that's why I believe we cannot just ignore these bitches. You can't just ignore them, because they'll go to where they're not ignored. Now mind you, I don't want to fucking hear them all night. Listen. Yeah, you hear it? No screaming cunts. No whining, no bitching, no nagging. It's like heaven. It's heavenly. But somewhere right now, somewhere out there, some poor fucking sap is listening to some fucking bitch grind in his ear like a fucking chainsaw with the throttle stuck wide open, screaming and yelling at him to make her happy and give her what she wants. And the poor dumb son of a bitch is going to give it to her to get her to shut up. But men don't care. Men don't care. I really think that a good domestic spanking protocol needs to be reinstituted. I think that a woman, that if she was raised improperly and raised to complain a lot, once she got a man, if she signed a contract and agreed that she wanted the man and would therefore submit to corporal punishment anytime the man felt it was a good idea, I think that'd be a swell fucking idea. Every time she bitched, nagged, spank, spank, spank over the knee. Anytime she complained, spank, 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 until her little ass was bright red every single time. I think that's probably the only way they can learn. That's probably the only way they'll get it, is if every time they do something they're not supposed to, they're punished instead of rewarded. So kind of the problem with men don't care, is that that's not enough. I think that us men have to care, and that we have to provide a remedy to the situation women find themselves in. I think they need a remedy. Not caring is a good one. The next step is telling them no. The next step is explaining to them why, and of course they don't get it after all this, and the next step is to turn them over your knee, much like John Wayne. John Wayne even spanked women in his fucking movies. That is a man's man. Here's to you, John Wayne. I know you're in heaven having a scotch with the big guy. Yes, sir. That is a good fucking scotch. It's got some great caramel and vanilla notes in it. Characteristics. It's got a smooth front of the mouth all the way through the back and down the neck. Just what a great fucking scotch. Yes, sir. Peace and quiet and a scotch. The problem with men don't care. Please click subscribe. Please hit that little bell next to it so you get updates or alerts when I do new videos. Click thumbs up. Thumbs up if you appreciate my videos. Thumbs up them all. Because the more thumbs up is, the more of our MGTOW videos out there get out. And also, please hit that share button. Share, because there's men out there, believe it or not, who are in their 60s, who are just now feeling the bite and want to get into MGTOW. Men in their 50s and their 40s who had no idea there was an alternative way to think about these fucking screaming harlots. There's men in their 30s and their 20s who have already had enough of the screeching harpies with brass bras and push-up tits. They fucking had it with them already. It runs the gamut, and young men especially. Men in their teens and their early 20s, they need to start off the bat realizing that MGTOW is an option, that you don't have to do what little screaming bitches want. Alright, I think I've had enough fun with this, and I'm going to finish this scotch on my own time. For now, you guys have a great time. Semper Fi. I have the penis. This is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. Have a good night.